Morning guys, Ben here, 100M Man. Another podcast from Inside of the Mind, increasing mental resilience in sport. So today I just want to talk about why I distance myself, or am currently distancing myself from the masses, the outside world, from media, apart from positive media, so where I'm actively looking out people who not only are achieving what I'd like to achieve, but also supporting a healthy, productive and positive life. And it's sad because, social media now, I am on social media, I utilise it within several of my businesses, can become plagued with a lot of negativity. And I've been consciously, certainly over the last 60 days or so, removing those articles and actually using the functionality within those social media websites, such as Facebook, see less of the functionalities within those. And the reason is very simple. For me, especially during this journey, I want to immerse myself in being 100% committed in all aspects. And what I mean by that is that it's fine being 100% committed with diet, following through with your training program, but there was also a third, fourth and fifth element attached to that. And one of those elements is the mindful well-being aspect, which is generally just forgotten about. And there's no way of, or it's very hard to completely distract and remove yourself from many of the social influences that are out there. At every bus stop here in the UK, you've got some kind of advert going on. Before you've walked in a supermarket, they're already selling products in the car park. With every TV show, there's subliminal advertising in there or recommendations. So it is and can be hard to remove all of those subliminal messages or enforcers. But what we can do, and what I'm consciously and actively doing over the last 60 days and will continue definitely to the 100 days, is remove myself from those media streams that aren't supporting the journey that I'm on at the moment. And I can really already see the difference. And I wasn't one to subscribe to the media's approach to news reporting. I'm aware that that is highly influential, but I've distanced myself that little bit further now, not just from the media outlets, but also from friends and extended counterparts that also aren't supporting a state, a behaviour that I really want to become. And training for an endurance sport, or any sport, I think is hard enough on its own, with the commitments, especially through nutrition, the fitness. And the last thing you want to be doing is immersing yourself in an environment or circumstances that aren't supporting that journey also. So I've started to only immerse myself, only surround myself with people that are positively supporting the journey that I'm on right now. And I've asked myself, why wouldn't I? And the more that I've done that, and the more that I've consciously been aware of the language that those people around me are using, the further and the more critical I seem to be of my own language. And it's something that I'd probably welcome you to do as well. Over the next day, just really listen to the words that people use in their sentences. Be aware of how they are communicating with you, whether they're communicating and bonding through negativity or whether they're communicating in a positive context. And it does make a massive difference to how you behave, how well your training session goes. You're going into a training session after being bombarded with meetings, negativity, with social resilience, and having read the newspaper that's reporting negative news. How can you actively support a positive training session? The state that you're entering that training session in is already going to be negative. It's already going to be bombarded with elements of psychological damage. But going into a training session having removed a number of those elements and with a slightly more positive spin on the day is going to have a large and fundamental effect, a greater effect than I think you will realise, unless you're actively doing it right now, than you think. For me also, I meditate a lot. It's part of my main business. It's part of my life. It's part of my routine. This morning I did just a few minutes, not as long as I'd normally do. But I reflected, I utilised that time, the time of silence, just to think about what I wanted, how the day, or how I'd like the day to plan out. And I think once you consciously become aware and expand your mind and your thinking into those places where perhaps you're not looking at the negatives anymore, but bringing the awareness internally, acting in the present and making a conscious choice not to follow that path, the more I think people will understand and benefit from the psychological support that being around those people offer. And it's a new way of living. If you go into a party, for example, and there's one negative person amongst many happy people, that person stands out like a sore thumb. But in society nowadays, there's many unhappy people. All you have to do is look at the faces if you're sitting on the tube in London and see the unhappiness in there, the energy that is pushing itself out into many of the other people. If you're in the supermarket, just consciously be aware and look at the faces of people. There seems to be a lot of stress and tension in the world. And the more you observe and the more you remove, I think the more that you will see a number of other changes within your life. Happiness will increase. You'll have more focus. You'll be able to really rein in any thoughts that haven't been supportive in the past. And sure, it's very easy to sign up to that way of thinking and following the social conformity of reading the paper, by looking at the news, by gauging how your day's going to be based on the weather outside. And there's so many other factors that we're led to believe have to play a part of our life. But bonding through negativity isn't going to be supportive in any kind of endurance sport or any sport in general. For me, it's a negative spin. For me, it's something that should be avoided at all costs, at all occasions. And of course, there's going to be times where it's going to be hard to avoid that. But the amount of energy that you are willing to give is solely a choice of yours. If there is a national impact or a national negative event, then I'm not saying to remove yourself completely from it. Obviously, it's going to have an effect across the nation. However, you have a choice how long you hold on to that, how long you commit to that moment. It's very easy to get distracted and veer off your training path and veer off your daily activities and the positive sides by those negative distractions. And have you ever noticed how many times people will, if there's something negative going on or a bit of gossip, you seem to attract many people. Their ears prick up and they tend to join that conversation. Whereas sometimes, or most likely happens when something positive is happening, people tend to listen but move on by. They don't have a particularly high need really to immerse themselves or to give comment. And I think that's just society in general. But the more you start to mix with those people that are positive, that have common interests, that can really only be positive based on the sport and activities that they do, the less you'll likely hear of those conversations that are unsupportive. Because you're looking to fine-tune the body, the mind in ways of which the general public at the moment, and I'm hoping things will change, are not consciously really aware of, they have no interest in. Obesity is a massive problem globally at the moment. In the US, I read a report the other day that over 60% of the United States are obese. There's only so long that can go on for. There are new ways of living. There is choice out there. And ultimately, we know what we need to do. It all comes back to that. Deep down, we're supposedly the most intelligent species on the earth, on the planet. But when you spare a moment to think and reflect, you've got to ask yourself whether that is the truth, whether that is something that we've just been told because we've evolved a lot faster than other species. Does it make sense to be clinically obese, shorten our life, increase the risk of terminal illnesses or age-related illnesses? Does that make sense? Or does it make sense to support a healthy and happy life and take part in activities that prolong a healthy, fitter, mindfully and spiritually better life? You see a cake full of masses of saturated fats and you see an apple. Which one do you think is the most supportive in life? Yet why do so many people take the wrong choice? Could be something to do with the social pressures, to the distraction of the mind on many other things that are going on in the world, so that people don't actually take note of the harmful effects they're doing to themselves. It's very easy to become distracted. But we ultimately always know what to do. If you're thinking in the present moment, which is fundamentally important in any sport, then you know what to do. Your instinct, your body, your mind is always trying to preserve life. That's one thing that I think many people have forgotten. Recently I had a problem with my right IT band. I changed some things. I listened to my body. I did a body scan. I thought, right, what is happening? It's not my diet. It could be the amount of exercise that I'm doing. I changed a few things. One, predominantly, was the trainers that I was wearing and I was running. Two, I looked at the routes where I was running. It was predominantly off-road and track, and I was putting pressure on the outside of my right leg, so I was only running in one direction. Made some alterations, and so far, for the remaining 40 days or so, I've been injury-free. My body was telling me, it was screaming at me, telling me that it needed something to change. So I changed, and the pain went away. The resistance went away. And I think that's something that we really need to do. And the way that you can do that and become mindfully aware of the things that are happening within really only start to happen when you stop taking note of the negative aspects in the outside world. What's going on out there, all of the stuff that's happening, bringing the awareness back to self, being self. Some people label it as selfish. For me, I just label it as being aware of self, knowing what I want to do. And why would you do something otherwise anyway? You know, why would you do something that doesn't support a healthy and happy you, a supportive you? And if you're listening to this, I'm assuming that you want to improve in a sport. You want to improve in the mindful aspects of sport. So my recommendation for today is don't subscribe to the other's way of life just because many other people are doing it. You know, stand alone. Be the black sheep of the family that goes out there and actively avoids negativity. And it's only when you start to act in the present do you actually realize how much of it is going on. Today, perhaps, just look out there. See how adverts, see how subliminal marketing is affecting you. You know, what is the world telling you to eat? What is the world telling you to do? And then make the choice whether that's the right thing for you, now in the present moment. Who knows, it might be. And I think it takes time. It's taken me a long time to really understand how the outside world influences my internal world. But I believe that I've expanded into that space now where my mind can make choices that only support a happy and long and free life. So that's it for today. I just wanted to discuss why I'm distancing myself from the masses, why I'm actively seeking out people who think in the same way that I do, that support and have that vision that they believe that their body is more, that their mind can be more, and by default, they can be more. If you've enjoyed the series, please leave a comment below. and support me by subscribing to my channel. Have a great day, all the best, and peace out.